This is DJTJBK, and this is a tutorial on how to create a song in the Cakewalk application. The Cakewalk application is available by BandLab, and it's a neat application. It's a digital audio workstation with plenty of features. And so I have the application open. I selected File, New Project, and this is an empty project, and we're just going to walk through just how to add tracks and some of the features that are available, and some tips on how to actually be able to record both audio and digital music, because Cakewalk can handle both audio and another format called MIDI. And MIDI is more like digital music. What MIDI does is it records the notes and attributes about the note, and it can also record controller elements. And so being able to record audio and MIDI is one of the advantages that Cakewalk has over some of the other digital audio workstations. So another neat feature that is nice about Cakewalk is that it allows you to integrate with Steinberg Cubase plugins. Steinberg Cubase was a digital audio workstation that was one of the early leaders, and so being able to plug and play the synthesizers from another DAW to Cakewalk is a great feature. So I'm just going to add. Cakewalk has some nice plugins for itself, and so we'll start with a Cakewalk plugin. And then here it allows you to select if you want to have a MIDI source for your synthesizer. If you're going to be using MIDI, you can select this box, and if not, then you can unselect it. But we're going to be using MIDI for this first synthesizer voice, so we'll have that selected, and we hit OK. And it adds our synthesizer. Here we can select the instrument. Right now it's set to piano, but we'll change it to, how about an electric piano. And then in order for us to hear audio from that instrument, we need to also have an audio track. So we added the synthesizer. The synthesizer includes the MIDI track, but now we want to add an audio track. And what the audio track can do is it allows us to not only record while we're recording the notes from MIDI, but it also allows us to have playback, so we can actually hear while we record. So with the synthesizer voice, we added the audio track, and then we're going to select what's the source of the audio track. So we're going to select our Cakewalk synthesizer, and then the audio. So we have one synthesizer, and now we'll add another one. And here we'll add one of the Cubase VST compatible synthesizers, and we'll add its MIDI source. We'll hit OK. And then to hear audio from this track as well, because now we have this other synthesizer. To hear audio, we're going to add an audio track. And the audio track will allow us to have playback and also record it will take the live recording and record it as a wave. And then once we have everything recorded, we can go ahead and mix it down and export it as either a wave or audio, MP3 or audio, any audio format. So we have added this second synthesizer. We're going to connect it to our audio track, and then what we'll do is we'll enable the audio sound from them here. We'll enable them for recording here. If we want to enable all the tracks for recording, we could just select this button here, and that'll enable all of them for audio. Select it here, and now okay. So we have two synthesizer voices, and what we'll do is we can actually record some notes to play back in the synthesizer using the matrix view. So we're going to go back to the menu and select View, Matrix View. And so this matrix view is a grid, and here we can add a MIDI row to the grid. And this MIDI row is going to play on our first synthesizer. And we're going to add a second MIDI row that's going to play on our second synthesizer. And then we'll add some notes. So here we create a new step sequencer cell, and we'll just play G, 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 G. And then we go back to our matrix view, and here we add another step sequencer cell. We'll just play G. Then we go back to our matrix view. Now, if we want to play these notes into the synthesizer, all we have to do is hit this button. And it actually loops over and over again. But if we don't want it to loop, we just want it to play once, that's okay too. And if we want to loop, so now that we have our synthesizers, we have some notes to play into the synthesizers, we have our audio feedback. Now we could record, and we could also, while we're recording, we could also play notes into those synthesizers using a virtual keyboard. So here we have a virtual controller, and we can select in our source for these synthesizer tracks, we can select that this is going to play from the virtual controller. And if we go back up to our first one, this will also play from our virtual controller. So this is the input source for this synthesizer, but we can also play from both the matrix grid and the virtual grid. So now we're ready. So what we do is we have our tracks enabled for recording, and if we hit record, we can go ahead and play our notes. once we record it, Cakewalk is going to save that recording. Each track is saved as a WAV file in the project folder, and we can export those waves as a mix down into an audio file. So to record the mix down, I disable the audio feedback, and then File, and you go to Export Audio, and then you can select if you want to save it as a WAV file. You can save it as a WAV file. If you want to save it as an MP3 file, you can save it as an MP3 file. So if you want to export it, you can export it in a number of different formats. And if you have a live feed, you can just use the audio track, insert audio track, and then select as your input source if you have a microphone or a line in. You can select that as your input source for your audio track. So I have nothing connected right now. However, if we did, it would appear there. So that was just a brief introduction on working with Cakewalk. Maybe it's new information or review. However, it's a introduction into recording digital music, and if you have questions, you can always feel free to reach out. Maybe I could provide assistance with specific questions, and there's other videos available on the YouTube channel. So have a nice day, everyone, and thank you for joining this one of a few tutorials that we'll be developing for you. Thank you.